Good evening, everybody. Shubho Sondha. We are going to start our webinar on the occasion of International Pride Day 2021. On behalf of Humanity Institute for Advanced Medical and Cultural Research, I, Dr. Shinchon Dash, the Secretary, HIMCR, welcoming you all, Swastik Banerjee, Orgho Adhikari, and Avinam Mangar,
Thank
this
you.
discussion. As we all know, it is the International Pride Day. So we are here to discuss the sociophobia and the different aspects of sexuality with the lights of philosophy, science, and culture, and to discuss on this apparently controversial topic to break the present taboos prevalent in this society, which are nothing but the stigmas. So we are going to start our discussion with the presentation or lecture of Mr. Avinam Mangal.
Hello. Uh, Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Humanity Institute, for having me here on this occasion of International Pride Day 2021. It's really an honor and privilege for me to come out and to talk about such pertaining issues on queer, which is one such area or institute which has been neglected in India as far by of many things. Uh, it's really a good initiative that HIAMCR has been doing, and I feel very fortunate to have been this given this privilege for to come up and speak. Thank you so much.
So, Abhinam, we are requesting you to give your speech and your lecture on the topic, whatever you have decided on the occasion of International Pride Day.
Uh, Thank you so much, Dr. Sinchan Das. So, whenever ideas such as pride or same-sex study or homophobia or breaking the stigmas comes to me, there has been a lot of ideologies that we need to really break apart when we look into this dimension of sexuality or gender orientation, because what we have been basically doing is we always keep on to look into this direction of sexuality and gender through binary lenses. So I think this is the very right time to actually break down to look in from the binary lenses, and the sociophobia that is there in the society which exists is always been different for different people. For me, if I have to talk about sociophobia, it has been very different to what a mainlander India might see. Coming from a northeastern state, sociophobia here can not just only be you like naming or like touching, but then like sociophobia here in terms of comes in terms of acceptance by your parents. That's the only sociophobia that people of the northeast have. Whereas when we look into the sociophobia of the mainland India, people have been reported to violence, people have been misrepresentation of the queer voices or the non-binary voices. So I feel that sexuality and sociophobia is one of the most important areas in which researchers and writers needs to write about, because if we look into this context of the literature that's been produced representing or like proper representation of queer, then we find very less. We have very less poets and writers who have been writing about sociophobia towards the queer people or towards the people from the LGBTQ community. So I think it is very much important for us to see that the production of literature, or not just literature, but any narrative which has been produced under this category of LGBTQIA needs a proper representation, because the mainstream mainstream, what usually has happened in the mainstream society is, or mainstream uh, media or mainstream movies, is that there has always been a mismanagement of representation of the queer voices, which has often led to people have different set of ideas on them, like they carry on different set of ideas on queer or social phobia that the queer people often go through. Bollywood has always been represented queer or non-binary in a very different or a very mismanaged way. So I feel that the proper representation needs to be come up so that people can have really know about the problem that queer people undergoes. So I think that's something that I really wanted to talk about. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Abhinav Mangar. Now I am requesting Swastik to give his lecture.
Shinchan, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
I was thinking of going at last. Though. Thank you for this opportunity. Humanity is just a minute. I would like to thank this institution for giving me this opportunity to speak on this sociophobia and sexuality issues. Honestly, this is not my area of expertise, but like as I said, I have been doing research into the concept of self, and certain issues does come up which deals with identity and more on sociophobia because of my ongoing training in psychoanalysis. So some issues I will try to give shed light upon, and let's see how it goes. And আমি বাংলা আর ইংরেজি মিলিয়ে বলবো as it was decided, তাই তো?
একদম।
So আমরা So as I was thinking, মানে বলার চেষ্টা করছি যেটা টানা ৮ ঘন্টার লেকচার না দিয়ে যদি অর্ঘ্য আমার পরে কিছুটা বলে, আমি কিছুটা বলার পরে তারপরে আমি যদি আরো কিছু ইনসাইটস থাকে বলে, আই থিঙ্ক দ্যাট উইল বি বেটার। তো হ্যাঁ, আমি প্রথম একটা সমস্যাকে তৈরি করতে চাইছি, সেটা হচ্ছে ইটস রিগার্ডিং দ্য প্রবলেম অফ আদার, মানে আমার থেকে ভিন্ন যেটা আমরা নিজেদেরকে জানি। তো দিস ইজ ওয়ে হাউ উই নো থিংস যে কোনো জগতে। তো সবসময় যখন আমরা কোনো বিষয়কে জানছি, একটা নিজেদের থেকে সেপারেট করে জানার বিষয় থাকি। সো ওই যে একটা ডুয়ালিটি থাকে, এটা সেলফ অ্যান্ড আদার, এইখান থেকে একটা ডুয়ালিজমের আর্গুমেন্ট তৈরি হয়, গ্রাউন্ডও তৈরি হয়। অলসো দের ইজ সামথিং ওয়াজ এক্সটার্নালিজম, মানে আমি নিজেকে একটা সেলফকে একটা স্ট্যাটিক এন্টিটি হিসেবে অনেক সময় দেখি, এবং দিস ইজ সামথিং দ্যাট হ্যাজ বিন ইন আ ট্র্যাডিশন অফ philosophical schools like Advaita Vedanta against different schools of philosophy like Trik বা কাশ্মীর শৈবিজমের মতো স্কুলের থেকে, যারা মনে করে হচ্ছে, আমি তিনটে মেন স্কুলকে ধরছি। একটা স্কুল যারা মনে করে হচ্ছে আমার আইডেন্টিটিটা একটা স্ট্যাটিক জিনিস, এন্টিটি। একটা মনে করে হচ্ছে আমার আইডেন্টিটি একটা বান্ডেল থিওরির উপর ডিপেন্ড করে, মানে দের ইজ নাথিং উইচ উই ক্যান কল আওয়ার সেলফ অ্যাজ পার্সোনাল সেলফ, যেটাকে আমি পার্মানেন্ট হিসেবে বলতে পারবো, বাট আমার নানা রকমের অ্যাসপেক্টসকে আমরা জানতে পারবো। আমরা কোনো পার্টিকুলার ইমোশনসকে জানছি, কোনো পার্টিকুলার স্টোরিকে জানছি। সিমিলারলি ন্যারেটিভ সেলফের একটা ব্যাপার আছে, যেখানে আমরা নিজেদেরকে স্টোরি হিসেবে জানছি। আর একটা আছে যারা হচ্ছে প্রত্যেকটা থিওরিকে কম্বাইন করে, যেরকম থ্রিকের মতো ফিলসফিরা কম্বাইন করে, যারা মনে করে হচ্ছে আমাদের এসেনশিয়াল একটা নেচার আছে যেটা স্ট্যাটিক, কিন্তু এই এসেনশিয়াল নেচারটা কোনো ক্যারেক্টারওয়ালা নেচার নয়। দেন দের ইজ সামথিং ডাইনামিক, যেটা দিয়ে আমরা নিজেদেরকে এক্সপ্রেস করি। ওই এসেনশিয়াল নেচার বলবো না, ওটাকে অ্যাকচুয়ালি এক্সিস্টেন্স বলা হয়। এক্সিস্টেন্সটাকে পিওর কনসিয়াসনেস বলা হচ্ছে, কিন্তু কনসিয়াসনেসকে আমরা যেভাবে এক্সপিরিয়েন্স করছি অ্যাওয়ারনেস দিয়ে, সেটা কিন্তু ডাইনামিক, মানে আমি নিজেকে এক্সপিরিয়েন্স যেটা করি সেটা কিন্তু কনস্ট্যান্টলি চেঞ্জ করে। এবং এই যে চেঞ্জিং জায়গাটা, যেটা আমরা নিজেদের ফেনোমেনাল সেলফ বলছি, বা ওই আমাদের প্রত্যেক মুহূর্তে যে এক্সপিরিয়েন্স করছি সে যে সেলফটা বলছি, এই জিনিসটা আমাদের একটা পার্সোনাল আইডেন্টিটিকে ডেভেলপ করে। সমস্যাটা কোথায় দেখা দিচ্ছে, যারা আমি এই লাস্ট ফিউ এর সাথে বিলং করি আমি নিজেও, তো সমস্যা তাদের পক্ষে এখানে দেখা দিচ্ছে, যখন আমরা কোনো একটা বিষয়কে নিজের থেকে ভিন্ন বলে যাকে দেখছি, তাকে এই ডাইনামিজমটা দেখছি না, আমি স্ট্যাটিক অ্যাসপেক্টটা দিয়ে দেখছি। এবং তখন অফেন একটা সমস্যা হয়ে যায় যে আমরা একটা ওই মানে হোমোজিনিয়াস রুল তৈরি করার চেষ্টা করি, যেটা আগের দিন আমি একজন আমার বন্ধুর লেকচার থেকে নোট করলাম। সে পয়েন্ট করছিল স্কুলের মধ্যে একটা হোমোজিনিটির প্র্যাকটিস, যে সবাইকে একটা পার্টিকুলার ভাবে ড্রেস পরতে হবে, একটা পার্টিকুলার রেজাল্ট করতে হবে, একটা পার্টিকুলার বিহেভ করতে হবে। এই জায়গাটা এটা মানে ইউজুয়ালি আমরা নোট করি না। এই পয়েন্টটা আমার একজন বন্ধু, মানে অনেকে অর্ঘ হয়তো চিনবে, রাহুল সেন বলে অশোকাতে পড়ায়, ও সেদিনকে বানিয়েছিল। অ্যান্ড দিস ইজ সামথিং ইন্টারেস্টেড হুইচ আই নোটেড। এবং এই হোমোজিনিটিটার সাথে কনফার্ম করা থেকে একটা নেক্সট সমস্যা তৈরি হয়, সেটা হচ্ছে আমরা যে নিজেদের মধ্যে একটা স্ট্যাটিক কনসেপ্টকে ধরেছি, which again is defined by something, not by exploring ourselves, but কোনো একটা এক্সটার্নাল জিনিসকে দিয়ে, যেটা হয়তো কোনো একটা পিরিয়ডে লেখা হয়েছে বা কোনো একটা সোশ্যালি কনস্ট্রাক্টেড আইডিয়া আছে, এবং সেটার উপর আমরা নিজেদেরকে কনস্ট্যান্টলি কনফার্ম করে একটা পারফেক্ট হোমোজিনাস আইডিয়ার সাথে নিজেদেরকে কনফার্ম করতে চেষ্টা করি। সেখান থেকে যেটা সমস্যা হয়, নিজেদের মধ্যে একটা এলিয়েনেশনের সমস্যা অনেক সময় দেখা যায় অনেকেই। এবং এটা শুধু এলজিবিটি কিউ কমিউনিটির সমস্যা নয়, এটা অনেক অন্য জায়গাও দেখা যায় যে যারা কিন্তু এক্স্যাক্টলি হোমোজিনিটির সাথে কনফার্ম করে না, এবং বহু স্কুলের মধ্যে বা বহু কলেজের মধ্যে বা বহু জায়গায় ওই একটা গতানুগতিক নিয়মের মধ্যে কনফার্ম না করতে পারার যে সমস্যাটা, সেখান থেকে কিন্তু একটা এলিয়েনেশনের সমস্যা শুরু হয়ে যায়, যে এইভাবেই আমাকে বিহেভ করতে হবে, এভাবেই আমাকে চলতে হবে, ওভাবেই আমাকে এগোতে হবে। এবং আস্তে আস্তে নিজেকে কনভিন্স করা শুরু হয় যে ওই যে ওর থেকে যে ডেভিয়েন্ট বিহেভিয়ার গুলো, ওগুলো অ্যাকসেপ্টেবল নয়, এবং একটা যেটা হোমোজিনাস বিহেভিয়ার ওটাকেই আমায় করতে হবে, যেটাকে নর্মস বলা হয়। নর্মস অ্যাজ এন ইউনিভার্সাল মানে সোশ্যালি কনস্ট্রাক্টেড রুলস, সেটার মধ্যে যেন নিজেকে আইডেন্টিফাই করাটা ইজ আ বেটার, এবং নর্ম থেকে নর্মাল এই আইডিয়াটা আসলে নর্মের সাথে মানিয়ে চলাটাই যেন বেটার। এবার এখান থেকে কি কি সমস্যা আছে, সেখান থেকে দু রকমের সোশিওফোবিয়া আমরা পাচ্ছি। একটা হচ্ছে ফ্রম দ্য রেসপেক্ট অফ দ্বিতীয় যারা ব্যক্তি আছে আমার থেকে আলাদা, তাদের ব্যাপার থেকে আমার নিজের এক্সপ্রেস করলে তারা কিরকম ভাববে, সেখান থেকে একটা সোশিওফোবিয়ার অরিজিন, যেখানে আমার নিজের ভেতরে একটা অ্যাংজাইটি হচ্ছে যে আমি নিজেকে যদি এক্সপ্রেস করে ফেলি সেটা কি হবে, এবং একটা ব্যাড ফেথ তৈরি হচ্ছে সার্থের ভাষায়, যে একটা যেখানে আমি নিজের অথেন্টিক যে নেচারটা, যেখান থেকে আমার মানে ওই অথেন্টিসিটি সার্থের কনসেপ্ট না, ব্যাড ফেথ সার্থের কনসেপ্ট। তো ওই আমার যে একটা পারফেক্ট মানে নিজেকে এক্সপ্রেস করার যে ওয়ে আছে, সেটাকে আমি এক্সপ্রেস করতে পারছি না, এবং না পারার জন্য যেটা সমস্যাকে আমরা তখন ফেস করছি, সেটা হচ্ছে আমাদের ভেতরে একটা অন্য কনফার্ম করতে গিয়ে আমি নিজের এক্সপ্রেশনের জন্য যে অ্যাকসেপ্টেড হব না, বা আমি যে নিজের এক্সপ্রেশনের জন্য যে একটা সেক্লুডেড হয়ে যাব, অন্যদের চোখে যে একটা আমি মানে বাজেভাবে অবজেক্টিফাইড হয়ে যাব, এইখান থেকে আমার ভেতরে একটা অদ্ভুত অ্যাংজাইটি, একটা অদ্ভুত ফিয়ার ডেভেলপ করছে। অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম অন্যরা একটা কোনো একটা পার্টিকুলার কনস্ট্রাক্টেড থিওরিকে অ্যাকসেপ্ট করে ফেলেছে বলে তারাও অনেক সময় মেনে নিতে পারছে না যে আমাদের মধ্যে ডাইভার্সিটির নেচারটা কি। এবং এই জায়গাটা আমাদের দেশের মধ্যেও ইদানিংকাল একটা কারেন্টলি প্রবলেম হয়ে উঠেছে। রিলিজিয়াস দিক দিয়ে দেখতে গেলে আমাদের মানে যেটা জিওগ্রাফিক্যাল বেসড হিন্দু রিলিজিয়ন, এবং এর মধ্যে অনেকগুলো কাল্ট বেসড আছে, অনেক থিওরি বেসড আছে, এর ভেতরে একটা ডাইভার্সিটির কনসেপ্ট আমরা পাই। মানে যেমন রিজিওনাল ডাইভার্সিটিস বা রিজিওনাল ফোক কালচার ডাইভার্সিটি, সেখানে অ্যাকসেপ্টেন্স। এবং আমাদের হিন্দুইজমকে যখন আমরা স্টাডি করি, ইন্ডিয়ান ফিলসফিক্যাল সিস্টেমসকে যখন আমরা স্টাডি করি, তখন আমরা দেখতে পাই কিন্তু যে আমরা ওরাল ট্র্যাডিশন, যখন ওই লেখা ডেভেলপ হয়নি, কারণ ওয়েস্টার্ন সমস্যা একটা হচ্ছে ওরা যখন হিস্টোরিক্যাল রিসার্চ করে তখন ওরা রিটেন এভিডেন্সকে আগে না, কিন্তু লেখার অনেক আগে থেকে ওরাল ট্র্যাডিশন এক্সিস্ট করছে। তো ওরাল ট্র্যাডিশনে যে প্র্যাকটিস ছিল, সেখান থেকে পরে যে প্র্যাকটিস হয়েছে, তারপরে যেটা ইভেন্চুয়ালি আমাদের দেশে সিরিজ অফ ইনভেশনস হয়েছে, এবং আমাদের যে কালচারগুলো ডেভেলপ করেছে, সেখানেও কিছু ইনভেডেড কালচার্স আছে, কিছু অ্যাবরিজিনাল কালচার্স আছে। এই সব যে গ্র্যাজুয়ালি যে এজেস আফটার এজেসটা ডেভেলপ করেছে, ইভেন এখনো হয়েছে, এটা কিন্তু একটা পিকিউলিয়ার ডাইভার্সিটি ক্রিয়েট করেছে। এমন নয় যে এন্টায়ার ইন্ডিয়ান কালচার যেটা আমাদের এক্সিস্ট করে, সেটা কিন্তু বেদ সেন্ট্রিক বা পুরাণ সেন্ট্রিক কালচার, তা কিন্তু নয়। হ্যাঁ, একটা পলিটিক্যাল মানে স্ট্রাগলের জন্য পার্টিকুলার কয়েকটা রাজার প্রমোশনের জন্য এককালীন বেদকে খুব সুপ্রিমেসি পাওয়া গেছে। পরের দিকেও যখন আমরা ব্রিটিশ রুলের আন্ডারে এসেছি, তখন একটা ওই আমাদের মুসলিম রুল এবং ব্রিটিশ রুল, তখন একটা এব্রাহামিক রিলিজিয়নের আইডিয়ালস আমাদের দেশের মধ্যে পাওয়া গেছে। তো পুরোনো কালে যেরকম একটা আমাদের সেক্সুয়ালিটির আইডিয়া ছিল, পরের দিকে কলোনিয়াল এরিয়াতে কিন্তু সেটা অনেকটা ভেঙে গেছে। ইভেন আমরা কামসূত্রের যখন মতো টেক্সটগুলো পড়ছি বা আমি যখন কালিদাসের কাব্য পড়ছি, তখন যে সেক্সুয়াল ফ্রিডম পাচ্ছি সেটা কিন্তু লেট এরাতে আমরা পাচ্ছি না। এবং মুঘল এরার পরে তারপর আমরা যখন কলোনিয়াল পিরিয়ডে পড়েছি, তখন মরালিটির আইডিয়াটা অনেক বদলে গিয়ে সেক্সুয়াল অপারেশন একটা জায়গায় এসেছে, বিকজ এব্রাহামিক রিলিজিয়নে অনেকটা কিন্তু সেক্সুয়াল অপারেশন প্র্যাকটিসড হয়। এবার সেটা যখন সেই সময় হতো, তাই থেকে যখন বিদেশে প্রোগ্রেস করে গেল, আমাদের দেশের মধ্যে যে কলোনিয়াল মেন্টালিটিস গুলো ছিল সেখান থেকে কিন্তু খুব একটা প্রোগ্রেস লোকেরা করলো না। তারপর ট্র্যাডিশনের মধ্যে যেন একটা বিশ্বাস শুরু হয়ে গেল যে ট্র্যাডিশন যেন একটা খুব স্ট্যাগনেন্ট আইডিয়া। এবং এটা কিন্তু যদি আমরা খুব সিরিয়াসলি হিস্টোরিক্যাল ডেভেলপমেন্টে দেখি, দেখতে পাবো যে ট্র্যাডিশন কিন্তু কোনো স্ট্যাগনেন্ট আইডিয়া ছিল না, ওটাও একটা এরা টু এরা কমেন্টারিয়াল ট্র্যাডিশন এবং ফান্ডিং এর দ্বারা ডেভেলপ করেছে। ফলত যেটা সমস্যা হলো, যারা সোকল ট্র্যাডিশনালিস্ট অর্থোডক্স ব্যক্তি, তারা বিশ্বাস করতে থাকলো যে আমাদের দেশে যেন পার্টিকুলার কালচারাল প্র্যাকটিসেস চিরকালই রয়েছে এবং সেটা যেন কালচারের বিরোধী। এবং অনেক ক্ষেত্রেই অনেক রকমের ফর্মস অফ এক্সপ্রেশন কিন্তু সাপ্রেসড হওয়াটা অনেক বাড়াবাড়ি পর্যায়ে হয়ে গেল। আমাদের এখানে আরেকটা জিনিস আমি নোট করছি, সেটা হচ্ছে আপনার এক্সপ্রেশনের ক্ষেত্রে যেটা মূল সমস্যা আমরা দেখতে পাই সেটা হচ্ছে হোমোসেক্সুয়ালিটির রেফারেন্স যদিও আমরা পুরোনো টেক্সটে পাচ্ছি, তবুও সার্টেন প্র্যাকটিসেসের রেফারেন্স পাচ্ছি না। এবার সেটার প্রবাবেল কারণ হতে পারে হচ্ছে কয়েকটা স্মৃতির মধ্যে যারা লিখছে তাদের নিজস্ব ইনোভেশনস ওখানে পুট করছে, কারণ স্মৃতিটা ওয়াজ লাইক আ ল টেক্সট তখন, যেটা ইউনিভার্সাল ভ্যালু অ্যাজ সাচ হোল্ড করার কোনো মানে নেই। এবং তখনকার একটা মেডিকেল আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং ছিল যেটাতে অনেক কিছুই বোঝা যায় না, যেমন পিরিয়ড নিয়ে যে সমস্যাটা, সেটা অনেকটাই তখনকার মেডিসিনের সাথে সমস্যা হচ্ছে, ওকে ইংলিশে তারা চাইছে। সো as I was saying that it was regarding tradition, so because some people were not are not fluent in Bengali, so let me just repeat what I said. So like I was talking about traditions and how this tradition with believed to be stagnant, but it is not really stagnant. It is something that is dynamic and evolving, and the problem starts when people start believing that this is stagnant. And this is where the stagnant idea of self and against the idea of the other, that is the social idea, uh, comes into a like a opposition. So what happens is we start to define the society as something to be static, and then we create a kind of homogeneity where we don't really accept like anything that is divergent from that stagnant view. And this creates a crucial problem which really even like leads to a sort of anxiety between anyone who does not conform with the uh, like the social homogeneous norms. And this is the problem that I have been talking about. This is the problem that I'm trying to break over here. So the problem, as I was saying, is believing this theories to be stagnant. Now, what is more important is we do need to understand the tradition, which is very important to understand a certain Indian version of what I would say is a sexual expression, how it had been in India. But at the same time, it is necessary by implementing certain Western ideologies where we understand that what is the world and how the world is now. Because it had been the case that we cannot live in an era which was like 5,000 years old or 2,000 years old or even 500 years old. Not even so, we cannot live in an era which was 100 years old, because 100 years back when Alan Turing was brought out of in public as a gay individual, he was like prosecuted for that in London. But the same is not the case right now, because it's just a question of Second World War, and right now, which is not even 100 exactly years, something like less than a century, 80 years or so, because World War is happening in something that around 1930s, 1940s. However, we Indians are still not ready to move forward. And even when we are moving forward from one particular phase, what we are doing is we are not looking back into the roots which will make up, understand ourselves, like ourselves, this personality, which has developed over this a static idea of self as consciousness and whatever, how we experience ourselves, as how Indians have said it, how we can continue the debate, But what we are at most of the times doing is taking the debates from abroad and then trying to demolish the Indian tradition, which is becoming detrimental in both grounds. Like, you are not really doing much help to convince a tradition that this is something that has been a part of India, and this is something which we need to re-explore from the new grounds, and something where a new dialogue regarding gender identity, gender fluidity could be brought about, and the question of sociophobia could be addressed, and why such regulations actually don't make sense in all so-called uh, deep philosophical ontological systems that are being discussed in Indian philosophy, and it does goes in direct contradiction with the social structure that we have here. While it may conform to certain Western social cultures, and these two can actually mix, like the East and the West can actually mix to develop a further beautiful insight into something that will be a more like a better way of exploring these theories. And coming to social phobia, so the root of sociophobia lies here, that seeing oneself or trying to convince oneself with this normativity. Now, it's very easy to discuss this social phobia when we are living in a city like Kolkata. Now, if we shift from Kolkata and go to the villages, or we go to the regions which are not that developed, like say, like a person who is an effeminate man does not conform with the normative idea of masculinity. Growing up in a village in, say, Bihar, or in even in some random village in Bengal, where education has not, like the Western and the freedom of expression has not reached, how do we really approach them? Because one of the major debates we do find is that when we are trying to debate with someone regarding LGBTQ rights and the existence of homosexuality, we often find an aggressive reply against that is that it is something that is coming as a Western perversion. Well, we have a way to counter that already, and that is again to going back to India and showing that this is not a form of Western perversion, but this is actually a way of exploring ourselves. At the same time, trying to find the way to continue the tradition, how it happens, like to evolve the tradition from how it had been, like breaking free from the rules that really make the tradition stagnant, and then again providing new insights by bringing in ideas like Western feminism. These are some beautiful ideas which actually developed in the West, but we really don't find that much root in India. India had its own version of giving respect to women, but that is not necessarily the wave of feminism which we see in the third wave of feminism, where the very idea of gender is getting questioned. So now, educating the people in villages is a big deal. Now, educating something might be something that a person is listening, but then going back and they are not listening to the not practicing the problems. And this kinds of alienate a person who does not believe in certain, like does not conform with certain norms. And this is a more serious issues in like more orthodox societies, may it be Hindu, may it be Muslim, or any of the communities as we see. So this does become a problem, and also accepting that when we are talking about sociophobia and sexuality, again, like we are usually talking in the normal terms, like not normal, like given terms, like sexuality is something like it's either gay or straight, or your the heterosexual, queer, the two sections were bisexual and so on. Like the idea of sexuality needs again to be questioned, that what exactly is the idea of sexuality, and when a person is attracted to the same sex or a different sex or a particular person as such or anything as such, the very idea of pleasure and attraction, what really develops that question of attraction? Because this is something I've seen people falling in love even in homosexual relations. I've seen like people falling in love in with some other persons, but they are not really knowing that why they are falling in love with that person. They might have realized that they are into men, like a man seeking man, or a woman seeking woman, or a man who identifies as a woman seeking another man. So all this, like this big diversity of the spectrum of sexuality. But the problem happens that often when we are thinking of getting attracted to another person, not just a physical sexual attraction, attraction as in love. It's often what will I say, distortion of our own childhood traumas. Like a person may be actually attracted to a particular abusive character in their childhood, and that thing gets developed into getting attracted towards a particularly oppressive kind of partner who might make some false promises about being their guardian or being over like a being dominant over that person, and then ultimately it ends up to be a very toxic relation. Then there are questions like some of the best successful relationships I have seen were the people who are very open about their own sexual preferences and how they like to express their sexuality with each other. And mostly they were open relationships. I'm not taking the names, but recently I was like seeing one of my partners, which I see that a promising place. And this is where being aware of your own sexual desires and the partner's sexual desires, the freedom of partner's sexual expression comes into being. So even in LGBTQ community, it's a problem that people, like in many places, it's I don't know how much is it in Kolkata, like uh, like as I was saying, okay, uh, like questions are kind of interrupting me. Okay, like a problem of sexuality when we go into any dating sites or somewhere, you see that people have certain mindset of sexuality, and there are sets in which people know what to desire and what not to desire. What is something that makes a person gay and what is something that makes someone not that queer at all. So these frames of mind are again something which we needs to question. Like it, you may not be a person who is an LGBT, like, but you may be a sorry, you may be a person who is LGBT, but at the same time, you may not be a person who really conform into the given frames of LGBT, and it might be something that makes you explore. Like you might have developed your idea that okay, I'm into another, say, like I'm still thinking like you are in your late eras and you start realizing that you have identified yourself to be certain sexuality, and then you realize that okay, by thorough development of the mind, that I understand that it's not how I exactly am, it is something very different. So this core given frames of sexuality, and again like when we are talking about sexuality as something that is static, it again creates some problem. Like there are some people, like I'm always not saying that it's a problem with universally everywhere, that there are some people who know that sexuality is very fluid, but there are several who try to conform with a static sexual expression and then try to express themselves within that expression norms, and then whatever does not fit with them try to reject them. Again, then there is this problem like hiding your own sexuality. Like if you are like this problem of bottom shaming, even if you are a person who is person of LGBTQ community, see how the masculine misogyny comes into play over here. Like a person who is a masculine LGBT person is more acceptable than a person who is not that masculine, and this creates a kind of again deprivation. Like many people really don't get to express themselves. Like they may not be that masculine or they may not be that feminine, or they may not really enjoy that kind of fashion sense or that kind of LGBTQ study, like discussing certain aspects of studies which some people would do, and this kind of creates alienation. Like it's not my own personal problem, there are problems which I keep hearing about and discussing about. So this comes into there. Like as in my case, when I am studying philosophy, it's a major problem which I see that a person who really does not do analytic philosophy and goes into continental philosophy is not really looked into a philosophy circle. Or when someone is doing Indian philosophy, like as I am doing, it's when someone does not do a lot of traditional Indian philosophy or does not conform with traditional Indian philosophy, it becomes a problem. You really don't get much of the idea to explore yourself or express yourself as you are. And this is also a problem with sexuality. Like a person who may have like been into your particular way of LGBT, but then again does not like to go into certain areas of LGBT because it does not really appeal to that person. So that can create a like a sense of aloofness. and the community being restricted within certain places. And when this alienated person tries to mix with that, a subconscious sociophobia even within the community is developed. Like when I try to mix with that person, whether I will be accepted or not. And this is especially more true when it comes to a dating site, because a person in LGBTQ community might be knowing about the kind of perversions that go around, like not the person who are genuinely seeking certain desired partner or love would always be distracted with someone who is not seeking something and having some own intention. And then these problems get into further complications and creating more and more elaborate issues in the mind. And this problem basically like getting into the wrong person, getting into the wrong issues, getting struggle entangled into the wrong uh, like problems, it often happens with our childhood traumas, which we do need to explain. And in LGBTQ community particularly, right now it might get a bit better because children are becoming more and more aware about sexuality. But when we go into a generation which is above 25 and more beyond, like 30, 35, 60, 40, they had to undergo a severe traumatic childhood because of their FM. It was not so with who were conforming with the masculine norms, but it's more so with people who have not conformed with the masculine norms and were essentially different from them. And when you talk with them, they either start revolting or they start going into severe depression or severe insecurity and severe what was inferiority complexes, that they cannot really know who is the right person or who is what is it that they are supposed to do. And it's again a big generation gap that happens. Like when a communication happens with someone younger, they really don't really know the struggles that are happening over here. So some know, some do not know. And a lot of people in here who maybe subconsciously like sexually something, and they start like I have known people who are like that, and they might be sexually something and they start convincing themselves eventually to something else. And that confusion of sexuality may not ultimately manifest in their sexual life, because this actually manifests in other forms of expression, like our creativity, like our work environment, like our writing, like our social interaction, everything. Like that sexual confusion leads to different sorts of confusion, like confusion in taking decisions of the minor sort, like what sort of food you might like, or uh, what sort of movie you might like, or what sort of person interaction you may enjoy, or what sort of work may be suitable for you. This all confusions tend to shape up from there. And these are all results like from a subconscious suppressed sociophobia, which had its grounds over there and ultimately did not let us express ourselves as how it had been. And eventually, through exploring our own mind, do we explore what this personality and other things are and how we really are. So, these issues of social phobia and sexuality has so many different dimensions to it. Like it's very difficult to discuss. So I would give say this because I really don't know what to talk about, and I would give it off to Shinchan, and I think I'm really good to hear Orko about his experiences, and then maybe if I have some comments I can give. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swastik. অর্ঘ্যর কাছে যাওয়ার আগে, before going to the অর্ঘ্য, I like to say some words about him. আজকে অর্ঘ্যকে সবাই মোটামুটি চেনে। তার একটা বিশেষ কারণ হচ্ছে অর্ঘ্যর একটি ফিল্ম, যেটিকে আমরা প্রত্যেকে জানি মিসম্যান হিসেবে। সুতরাং এখানে আমি অর্ঘ্যর কাছে শুধুমাত্র ওর এক্সপিরিয়েন্স শোনার থেকেও বেশি মানে চাইবো যদিও ওর পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউটা আমাদের কাছে তুলে ধরতে পারে, অ্যাজ পার দ্য কালচার, অ্যাজ পার দ্য cinematography, as per his field of work. Orko, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Shinchon. Thank you, Humanity Institute, for giving me this opportunity to talk in this matter. First of all, I want to give answer. I saw one question. I think I think most of the people, they don't know about the sexuality, and we are talking about today sexuality. And yes, I want to give that answer because I mean, we have to think that people don't know the differences between sex, gender, and most of the people, they don't know about the sexuality. So actually, sex, what do we think about sex? Sex is actually our biological sex. I mean, whatever sex you are like born during your birth time, whatever you are, you can be male or you can be female. Then I'm coming to gender, which is coming in our mind, and which is like in a, I mean, in your society, by watching your biological sex, they are putting into you. If you born with male genitalia, then your gender should be masculine, and if you are with female genitalia, then you should be feminine gender. This is the like stereotypical thoughts of our society, but we can see that nowadays, I mean, not nowadays, I mean, it is like always, but nowadays people are like coming up with their different thoughts with gender. Like some people, they can be, I mean, they are with male genitalia, but they think about themselves as a feminine gender and vice versa. So they are known as like transgender. Now, what is cisgender and what is transgender? Cisgender is like who are with same genitalia and considering about like same gender, they are cisgender, and who are not, they are transgender. Now, what is sexuality? Sexuality is the expression, like Swastik told many times about expression. So, what is your expression towards your gender, towards your sex, and towards your preferences? And like, if you are like, let assume you are a boy, and you when, I mean, during puberty, we all know that during puberty, we I mean, I mean, I am talking about every human, that we all had, and we all have attraction towards the both sexes in during puberty. But now, when puberty is going to end, or puberty is going on, people, they can understand that on particular which sex or which gender they are more attracted, and that way we are trying to fit in the spectrum of the gender sexuality. Like, think, if I'm taking a scale, then if I am putting in one point, at the one point heterosexual, and another point I am putting homosexual, so I can't say that people is I mean, all there at the last of this point, I mean, that is heterosexual, or at the last this point is homosexual, because we all are floating around this gender sexuality spectrum. It is a like a flowing river, so it can't be same. Like, if, like, when we take some water from a river, and if we throw that, and after a few minutes again we take some water from that particular river, both water can't be same, they are different. So it is this gender sexuality is also like this way, it is flowing. I can say about myself, because when I was exploring my sexuality, as like Shostik told about one very good point, that is homogeneity in school. So I mean, I read in a boys' school, and there I thought, like, in my class only I was different, and but as I was good in studies and I have some cultural background, so I was always popular in school. So I am very much, I can call myself, I am very much privileged, and I am very much lucky that I didn't face any type of bullies in my school days or in my childhood. I mean, not that type of bullies like people used to face. Um, People used to face many bullies. You know, like I heard about many experiences from many people that they face many bullies, but I did not face actually that type of bully. Some general things we all queer people we all face. So if I like leave those things, so I didn't face that type of bully. So when I was exploring myself, uh like, as because in society there was binaries, either male or female. So I had a relationship with my school friend, and with that relationship I forced to thought that I have to fit in these binaries. So if I am a boy, but if I have to fit in this binary, so I have to change my sex. So in that way, technically, when I was exploring, I was transgender. I mean, technically I was transgender at the first time, I mean, when I was like exploring myself. Though I liked, I mean, I always liked like same sex. Then also I thought myself, though I did not thought that time, or I did not recognize myself as a transgender that time, because I did not know about that, because we don't have proper sex education till now in our country, in our society. So we I mean, most of our student, as I am a teacher, I also face many problem when I was like teaching reproductive system to my class 12 students, or to my like 10 students, because I saw, especially in West Bengal board, up to class 10 students, they don't know about human reproductive system. So I mean, think it is so I mean, it is so bad for our society that up to class 10, people who does not take biology or who does not take science after 10, they can't know about human reproductive system, about human body at all, because up to class 10 they only read about plant reproduction. I don't know what is the, I mean, what they will do like with that in future. So only those students who take biology, they can only get to know about human body or human reproduction. Anyways, so I was that time, I think, now I think I was that time transgender. But gradually, when I got to know about these LGBT people and the LGBT I mean, about these things, so gradually I explored myself, and I thought that what I am actually. Then I recognize that no, I am not transgender, because I don't like to see myself as a girl, or I don't like to be a girl. I always like to be a man, and if I love another man, that also I want to be man, and then I will love another man. So that way I am gay. So this way I'm just giving this example, that this way sexuality change itself time to time. And next, when I was like, I am maturing, I am developing my thoughts, I like got to know that there are many aspects of sexuality, like not only LGBT, there are many things, I mean, in this umbrella, like demisexual, like I can recognize myself as a demisexual. I got to know about it after many days, I mean, after many years of my recognition. Then I got to know about androgyny. What is that? Like this way, like with time, I explored myself. So I want to tell, like, I want to tell to new generation, or I want to tell those people that who wants to explore their sexuality. I want to tell them that always question yourself, that what do you want actually, what do you love actually. So you can get answer, not in 1 days, not 2 days, not in 1 week, but eventually you will get the answer. So this is my thought about sexuality. Now I want to come in another point, that is like sociophobia. I think that any type of phobia arise where the mass is talking about. Like if I mean, we all know that our society is built up most of the heterosexual people. So obviously, for like in front of their eyes or to them, who are not fitting into the binaries, into the social binaries, so they are weird. So that's why they give us the term queer. So we all are queer, but I can say that if those so-called heterosexual people, they question themselves also, they can see that many queer things it is inside them also. So I don't know how they can make this, how they can marginalize the people, or how they can judge people like in this way. So just so in that way, when they see that anything different, they start shaming onto that particular thing. Like if you take America, like they shame with race, because most of the Americans, they think that white people are dominant there, so they always shame in black people, so racism is there. Like that also in our country also, we don't have racism here that much. That is, I can say we are lucky. So but here LGBT community, they face phobia, I think, because of lack of education. Now here I want to say 2 points. One thing is there, no education. People don't know anything about sexuality, don't know anything about LGBTQ community, don't know anything about different. They can't, in my experience, I saw they don't judge at all. Because Shinchan was talking about my movie. My movie Miss Man was it was my shooting was happened in a rural area of Howrah, that place. It is a village. So when I was in shooting, and in Miss Man, who saw Miss Man, they saw that I was in a female attire, like as a transgender people. I was represent the transgender community there. And in movie also, I was exploring myself, what I am. So when I was in a female attire, I was going to the shooting spot from the house of our director. So that route was long. I think it is 1 kilometer, and I was traveling by bike, by sitting behind of the uncle of our director. So villagers were watching me, but I don't know how, I didn't face any kind of mockery. I didn't face any kind of question that why you are wearing these things, or why you are. They don't know about the shooting. They don't know anything, because I was just passing. They were just watching me with with smile, and with they were, I think they were very happy to see me in that way. I don't know. And when I reached the shooting spot, there were so many villagers, especially women and some children. So they were talking to me, and I was shocked that they didn't even approaching me as or addressing me as female gender. They always like I mean calling me dada, like this way. They know that I am a boy, I am a man, and they were addressing me in that way also. So I felt very happy that time. So it is one type of, I mean, my example of like where no education is there about sexuality. Now problem is where education is not properly. People got to know about information by watching some videos, by watching some mockery content of some mockery YouTubers, I can say, or like some vlogger, I can say. Nowadays we can see that so many vloggers are coming in Facebook and YouTube and in other platform also. And what they are actually like talking about LGBTQ community, as most of this generation, they follow those vloggers or they follow those I mean those I mean those who make this type of videos. So I mean, it is on their hand that if they want, if they can try, they can do this change. But they are not like changing themselves, they are not changing their thoughts. They are deliberately putting this phobia into the people's mind. And most of the people, they are getting information about the LGBTQ community from this. And here our Bollywood cinemas are playing a very vital role to putting these homophobias. Because if you see the early movies, like one very famous director and producer from our Bollywood and from our queer community itself, I don't want to take his name, though he opened himself, I mean, though he came out from the closeted after many things he has done already. So if you see those movies, so there, when two boys, they are like getting close and housemaid were like shocked, and where we can see some like they directors, they put some uh, people by decorating themselves like a woman or doing like mockery themselves. And like this way Bollywood always raised, or Bollywood always put the phobia into the mind. I mean, most of the people I know, I mean, those people who close to me, they watch me. So whenever they understand or whenever they get to know about me, my orientation, my sexuality, they just ask me that why other gay people or why other LGBTQ community people are not like you. I always ask them why. I mean, they are not different. They are obviously like me. So they tell, like they always ask me, no, like in if you see the movies, if you see the other contents of in Facebook, some famous like vloggers, or they are behaving such a like weird way. So why they are doing that things? Why they don't live like normally, like quote unquote normally, like you live? So I don't know, like I always I always give them answer that it is their way. But yes, like it is, I mean, it is sad, it is very sad that what they are doing for publicity or for whatever, I don't know, they are not doing right thing. I mean, there is a way to express yourself. I mean, if you are a trans or if you are feminine, that is okay, completely okay. I'm not judging anyone. But if you want to if you want to thing make funny also, that there is also some another way, not like in this way where you are putting homophobias inside the people's mind. So this is all about the phobias of outsider people. Outsider people means who are not in the LGBTQ community. But if you see inside the community, there are also different phobias are, I mean, inside the community also. Like some phobias, if some community people, they got to know if anyone is HIV positive patient, always their turns will be like a phobia, like maybe like if we talk with that person, if we talk with that people, if we meet that person, I also will be affected. So this everything, these things like always are coming with the less education, with not proper education. So I am talking about. So I think people should learn, not in bookish way learning, but in some way. If like if our society, if our government, I don't know when it will be, like I can't rely actually on our government, but if someday government will take initiate proper way to give education, first I want to say, first government should take education, then they can give education. So when they will start to give proper education, I think things will change. So I was talking about the phobia inside the community. One, I told about the HIV patients, HIV people, like not patient, HIV people. There are some phobias. One very good point Shostik has arised, that bottom shaming, that is also a different type of phobia. Like people who are effeminate, who are not that much masculine, so they always feel a fear to represent themselves in front of the other people, and that turns into a phobia of other people, phobia of that particular people also. Like that person can't represent or can't express himself or herself properly to the other people, and that other people, they also can't take that person properly, because that person is not confident about his presentation, about his expression, not confident, not like, I mean, not knowing himself or herself, that what he or she or they actually want. So so that's why it is the problem. And there are some other phobias inside this community also, I want to tell. Like if some people, they face some problem, like they face some bullies, they face some humiliation, so they, on that particular moment, they judge the whole people, that this whole people is like that way only. So it is not right. If you face problem, if you face anything bad, I'm very sorry for you, but you should not judge the other people, that the other people also will be the same. One another thing I want to say about this less education. I mean, again and again I am telling about the less education, because less education is very dangerous. So in Bengali, there is a like alpo bidya bhayankari, so it is like that. So during the shooting of Miss Man, we were shooting in the very conservative area of North Kolkata, that is like Shobha Bazar and Ghat and there. So there we were taking that scene, that with us, I mean there, I mean our one of our co actor, she was transgender, she is very famous and very good singer also. So that scene, her scene was going on, she was singing her song and I was sitting beside her and I was listening her. So there was some gatherings happened, like if you go to Shobha Bazar Ghat, you know that I mean, the ghat is like down and the road is at the up, and people can see from the up. So gatherings were on the up. So there were some boys and girls. I mean, boys and girls. I mean, they are like 18 to 21, their age, I can say, and some like old people also were present. So they were watching, they were laughing, they were smiling, and like talking like with each other, and we can hear what they are talking. Actually, they are talking about us. I mean, I'm telling about two scenarios in village where I did not face any kind of like judgmental comments or any kind of thing, but in city like Kolkata, where people are talking about our like dress, like they are first they pass one comment that homoder shooting cholche, like it is the shooting of some homosexual peoples. And then like that time our shooting was done more or less, and only me and Ratrish, the our co-star, she was present, and we were sitting together and we were talking, and our other people, director, they were taking some other shots near to the river, so we two were separated from them. So now some of the boys and one girl, they were coming too close to us, and we deliberately, they were talking about us, they were passing judgments, and one of the comment was they were putting that comment about my co-star who was transgender, that that she's a she-male. So I mean, they don't know actually what is she-male. So they just put that, that comment, they just pass that comment to each other. And now my co-star, I mean, she didn't got angry. Rather, she called that particular boy that who passed this comment, please come here. That boy was like afraid that time. Now that girl, she was pushing that boy and telling that this boy passed that comment. I was telling him that don't tell this kind of things. So then she told him that what is she-male? Do you know? Where do you find this term, particular term? Obviously in pornography. So that boy was just smiling with like very much embarrassed. Like we can see that he is embarrassed, but he was smiling. So then she taught that boy, which I like which made me very happy, and very politely she taught him that there is some another people who recognize themselves as a she-male. And what is she-male? She told him, and she told that what is transgender, what is the difference between transgender and transsexual also. So that after that, those boys and that girl, they were very, I mean, what can I say, they were very curious to know about these things, and they got very interest to know about these things, and they were talking with us more, and they felt really sorry about what they passed the comment. And after that like they told also that they don't know about these things. There were no one to teach them these things. So if they know from the beginning, obviously they don't pass this type of comment. So in this, I mean, these things happen. So I think this way people, they learn some ideas from these kind of things, like maybe it is pornography, maybe it is videos, or maybe kind of mockery content in YouTube. So this way I think phobia is arised. I want to share one very happy moments of me. I mean, Miss Man released, after release of Miss Man, like passed in many international international festivals, like throughout 2 years. And when it happened in Bangalore movie festival, and that was like completely free of cost, and anybody can watch from anywhere from this world. One of my student who just passed his board class 10, and he saw that movie, then he called me after watching that movie, like, as I am his favorite teacher. First he passed I mean first he shared his sorrow to me, that when in the movie my father, I mean who played my father role, who were beating me, so that time my student got like very much sad that my father was beating me that way. So I told me that that was acting. Then he told, yes, I know that it was acting. But you know, like there are many queer people who every day face this problem, face this domestic violence from their own father and mother. And I got so surprised to see the to see the empathy from the child who just like passed the board exam, and he was continuing his I mean whatever he was telling, that um, he was telling that after 377 decriminalized, I shocked again because he knows about that also. So after 377 decriminalization, things not change at all. Yes, now people, they got to know about that, yes, we exist. I mean queer people exist. There are some people exist who are not in this kind of binaries, who are not in this kind of social taboos or stereotypes, but their mentality actually not changed at all towards us. So uh, my student, he told that government should do something, like government should open kind of like special quota, like government have some quota for like SC/ST people or OBC people. So like that way government should open some kind of quota for some kind of category for the queer people also, because for many years queer people, they didn't get any kind of mainstream job. So if government want to take forward the queer people, they open this type of quota. Though personally I don't like this quota system, but then also I saw the empathy or the knowledge of queer politics of that little boy, that make me amused, and that made me happy, and that made me more optimistic to see that yes, there is a hope to our for our new generation, that they can think in this way, they can do. I mean, I think they will do many things for this equality, because as a teacher I always try to my students, like whenever I was telling about reproduction chapter, or I was teaching about reproduction chapter or hormone chapter, nowadays students, I mean maybe they are like very much younger, but then also I mean nowadays most of the people know about what is gay, what is lesbian, or what is like LGBTQ community. So they ask that how gay people born, or how one man can fall in love in with another man. So when they ask me this kind of things, as a teacher I always give them some awareness. I try to sensitize them, and I try to build some empathy in inside them. I mean, not for like they will after some time they will give sympathy to queer people, because queer people don't want sympathy, but at least they can be with them, they can be with them, they can be they can take a side for them in the queer movement. So I always try to do these things, and I think if if we or if other teacher, if some people who actually know these things properly, if we take initiative in this way, then we can build, we can hope that we can build a better future for our generation, for our next generation. Thank you.
Shinchan, you are muted.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Orgo. So from the above discussion, from the entire discussion, we can see that there might be a problem, which is sociophobia is due to lack of education and less education, the quote unquote less education coined by Orgo. And another thing is the normality. The term again and again reappearing in our discussion, that is normality. At first, as this discussion, this is not at all discussion, as this webinar is focusing on the basic taboos on the sexuality. So it is our prime duty to aware the people about the sexuality or sex at first. What Orgo already done. But here, one major problem, what Orgo said, today many people knew about the gay and lesbian. It is very shocking that even in the medical college, many of the doctors are unaware about the basic fundamentals of the sex and sexuality. And they are also totally unaware about the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and etc. So my first question from the discussion, I want to focus on the problem, which is normality. What is actually normality? If anyone can show any light on the topic, what is actually normality?
See, thank you, Dr. Sinchan. The problem about normalcy that we always have been talking about is not that normality we have been stick to the idea of binary that's been focused on us towards by the society. So normalcy is always a person, a male person falling in love and marrying a female is a normal part of the play. That is something that's been taught us to a long history of masculinity. And this is not just about the idea of masculinity, but the idea here that we also look upon is about the patriarchy and its play. So how does patriarchy is playing here? That also is also an important aspect that we really need to look about how normalcy has been put about by the society. So since coming out as a patriarchy society, and we have very less matrilinear or matricular societies in the world. So what happens in accordance to the patriarchy society is that the masculinity is always thought to be the dominant role and femininity is always thought to be the inferior role. In terms of the orientation or the gender connotations that also sticks to the binarianism is that the normal is always thought to be that a masculinity is always falling for a femininity, which does not let us diversify our lenses when we look into the terms of ideas such as queer studies or non-binarism or any colorful identity or something coming under the rainbow culture. So the idea of normalcy has always been shifting from societies to societies and from cultures to culture. What might be normal here in the place that I've come from might be the normal what is happening in Kolkata, or may not be same as what is happening in the Western world or even in the eastern part of the world. So normalcy has been always been shifting from places to places, from people to people, and from ideologies to ideologies. But the commonness in the core studies that we always have to look forward is that Normalcy is always stick to the idea of patriarchy, which is always thought that the masculinity always falls for femininity, but which is not, and also that is what constructs the gender identity and also gender working in the society. That's where the entire concept of the gender performativity also comes into the play. Thank you.
Yeah, this is absolutely true, Avinam. But yeah, just firstly, just a minute. But I want to focus the light on the actual concept of normality, not only the sexuality or not only the gender, the actual concept of normality from the point of everything. Swastik, please.
That's what. That's okay.
Yeah.
Let me just answer. Like there is something known as category missing the point. Like when you ask a question and you give another answer, which defines an attribute of answer, but not the answer altogether. So that's what basically happened over here. So you see, like the word normal, if we try to understand, we have to go back to the very root of the idea, like how the word comes, and it comes from the root normalis, Latin normalis, and which basically used to refer to a carpenter's square, like you see a perfectly fit right angle. So it's a model that was the root word comes from something that fits into a perfectly fit system. So it's basically an idea that defines structures, and it's something that when we know, like it's associated with structuralism and other debates. So like when something, you have a particular structure. Now every culture has its own structure, as he was saying, like what might be normal here may not be normal in the other places, but that's irrelevant in the definition. Like what defines something to be normal and whether normal can be itself questioned is a thing. Like the word literally means to fit into something. Now, when we try to paint this idea of normal, the idea of not being normal or abnormal or something deviant is something that does not perfectly fit into something that should happen to be fitting into something. So this is basically has a lot to do with, again, the idea of homogeneity, like how something is perfectly structured and it should be like maintained in that way. The question of whether a feminism dialogue will be made a normal dialogue or whether a masculine dialogue will be made a normal dialogue is, again, we are trying to reinforce the idea of normalcy, because you are trying to redefine a new version of normal where this particular idea gets fitted into that idea. Now, the problem, if we see, if I would get the permission to proceed with my statement, the problem that might be a better solution is to very, very much break from this the idea of normal. It might be a bit of anarchy to answer this, that breaking the idea of norms and normal, because for long we have been trying to redefine the normal. But instead of trying to fit into a thing, like redefining and again refitting something and again doing it, if we try to break these structures and try to see the world that is beyond the structures that we have created, it might become much more easy to accept this fluidity. And again, breaking the structure might again become another normalcy, like a way to fit a person who is not breaking the structures may not fit into. So this problem might again end up in a paradoxical problem. So that's the issue we have to address later on. So this is what normalcy is all about, and normal is all about, coming from that carpenter's right angle to like the very idea of normal in society. Yes.
So we can say that like the gender fluidity in the normalcy, there is also a concept of fluidity, because it is changing from time to time and place to place and everywhere. So the next question I want to know, how the concept of normality is developing. Why a person, why a group taking something as control? This is nothing but the case control study. This is control, and on the basis of this control, we are taking some case and we are trying to fitting the case on the control to get the result. Either it is in the positive way or in the negative way, either to accept or reject. But what is the basic concept of this normality and acceptance and rejection? If something is not fitting into the control, that doesn't mean the case is wrong or the control is wrong. Both is there. So the theoretical explanation and the practical implementation, is it correct to implement both, or is it a matter of debate for a longer time?
It's actually a
So-
longer debate. Like, you cannot really answer over here if you ask me. Like, it's a huge question you are asking in one session. Like, there are certain questions which can be asked, and there are certain questions which we have to pass over. Like, if you ask me, I would say that it's not a debate that we can really address in a session that's like already 1.5 hours long. Like, something that we have to address. Again, I think Orgo has to say some point.
See, there is always tendency in human or any kind of animal, I can say, that in their society, I mean, if you see the animal society also, they always want to rule on another. So whenever somebody is making some norms, so theoretically, the explanation of norms, if you take like any kind of religious book or any kind of like anything like Hindu religion, like Gita or anything. So some people who want to rule, they make those norms in their way, like whatever way they want to get some what can I say, like some facilities. They wherever they will get some facilities, they will just modify those norms in that way. So in our society also, if you see like from the ancient era to like now modern days, always there are some there are some people who wanted rule upon us, like maybe like any kind of king or any kind of Mughal emperor or any kind like British. They always make their own normal rules for other people. I don't know, we call it like our country is a democratic country, but I don't know where the democracy is actually, I mean, where it is sinking or flying, or where I don't know. Like if you say, if you take the British also, where when they were like ruling here, they I mean, they hide this sexual diversity, or like many information, many books they just burned, and they just hide, or I don't know what they have done. So many things I mean till I mean now those things are not there with us. I mean those books or those informations were very precious, I think so. So but nowadays we don't have those things. But now when they like face problem, where the western countries, they are they are becoming very much acceptable with the queer community. Now the British government and the British monarchy, they just accept they in their way. Now we Indians, we don't know anything, because we ruled by British like 200 years. So those people who were present before 200 years, they were just completely gone from the world because they are dead. So now the society which is made by the people who always were in the British rules, so they don't, they obviously don't know about the our own culture, because they know about the British culture, whatever British taught us. So and another problem of Indian people, that is we Indian, we can't move on from anything. Like we are very much attached, we are very much sentimental, and we are very much attached with everything. That may be a toxic boyfriend, or that may be a like any kind of toxic rule also, we are always attached. So when we see that British, they themselves are moving on their statement, their rules, but we Indians are sticking around with that particular rule, and we took like this much years, and after so many years of British, I mean, after so many years of independence, we decriminalized 377. So normality or normalized things, obviously it is like very much problem when it comes to as a theory or as a practical implication. So there always will be conflicts between people.
Ashinchan, I have a point over
Yes,
here.
yes,
One
yes.
small correction. Like it's first, like Gita is not a text where you really have rules. That's Smritis of Manu Samhita and some others are the texts which are having rules. Again, like this popular narrative of the anti, like we have anti Sanatani, so called, or as Makaranda Paranjabi recently pointed out, it's anti Sanatani, like where you try to put into a straw man's fallacy, like Hindu dialogue, that this happens and this continues throughout, like as if like Manu Samhita being the main Smriti text, which clearly is not. Like there are 18 other Smriti texts and even more Smriti texts and Griha Sutyas which dictate. Like in Bengal, we did not have Manu Samhita. In Kashmir, we did not have a caste rule. In Kerala, like as Vivekananda said, it was a madhouse. Like, like anyway, like, and similarly, if you read Gita, which I would suggest you read, and clearly not Prabhupada's version, you can read a proper translation. Like Ramakrishna Mission has very good translations in Bengali. You can read through them, and you will see that it's more of a psychological uh, debate that's going on, and certain ethical theories being discussed, that what to do in the point of a duty, more than how the society should act. There is nothing like that in Gita. It's a text which discusses with self, and it is a text which discusses with duty at a particular crucial point. More importantly, like regarding the toxic relationship which he was discussing, and this toxicity in India is something that we have a serious issue. Like sticking to certain toxic problem, as he was talking about, which was obviously the 377 issue, which the world has moved forward, but India is still sticking to, and even getting into toxic relationship. So it remains a question which I would put forward, open question for future exploration, because it's also getting late for me and I have my own. We all have many things to do, like whether we can actually relate the relationship of a toxic individual with the toxic rules of the society. Like, is it some kind of toxic relation we are having with some other cultures? Because as Indians, we still have a problem, a colonial problem, rather. Several Indians have that. We have that colonial hangover, but still we try to justify ourselves through what the West does, and as if we try to beat ourselves from being what we really are, and then developing ourselves to be better than the West and trying to be behind the West. So this is a problem that we Indians have. So it's like that West being a toxic boyfriend who is being attached to us, or toxic partner, not just a boyfriend, like a toxic partner which is attached to us. The negative characters we are taking in, and we are forgetting our own positive characters. Again, we are sticking to our own negative past. Like certain things make absolutely no sense. Like now, you cannot really debate about caste or see, caste in quota is a serious issue, but let's not going there. Like in 1980s, Mondal Commission created a lot of mess, which we faced, but we cannot really talk about supremacy of a particular caste or supremacy of a particular section of the society. It's equal to talking about supremacy of the white in the West. And again, we have to see that where these cultures have developed and where we did not do that. And similarly, there are issues, like as I was saying, like whether this such childhood traumas or our experiential traumas which led us to do something that we have done in our life in a toxic relationship or something, which obviously can be done, and a social psychoanalysis could be done, like a deciphering the social problem. Why do we have this culture of sticking to certain toxic relations, like that, observing the West or having that colonial hangover of the West, as if they're still better than us in some respect, and we forget our, like, clearly the West was not like this 150 years back. They were far underdeveloped as India is right now. What happened to India in last 100 years? Like, it is a question. And again, getting over that hangover and moving forward to understand how we can develop, how we can contribute, and how we can regain the status, because 100 years is not a big deal and we can go beyond that. And indeed, we had a lot of like problems because of foreign invasions, but we cannot really blame the past rulers for what is happening now. We must blame ourselves, because as we know, some 100 years back, like in Hiroshima, Nagasaki event in Japan, it really shattered them. Like the Second World War, how they were then, like the great fascist government of Japan, to how they are right now. Like they have developed in such little time, and we Indians still are not ready to develop because we are not really ready to accept ourselves and move on, getting over the toxic past and accepting our things that can actually help us develop, like LGBTQ being one of these issues, attacking homo, breaking through the structures being one of these issues. So that's all I would like to say. And of course, that it's very much needed that we Indians do study Indian tradition and understand Indian traditions. Otherwise, we will never be able to get over this colonial hangover. And thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Swastik. This is almost 1 hour and 30 minutes, and this is the time of conclusion, and we will conclude our inter-ceremony, inter-discussion. At the end of the discussion, Swastik pointed out a very important connotation, that is, we have to study and we have to know our Indian culture and Indian tradition. We have to learn the Indian tradition at first. So with the conclusion, we can say that sociophobia, first of all, this is a discussion from the point of philosophy, from the point of sociology, and from the point of culture. This is not the discussion to discuss this medically, and for discussion of the medical perspective, we will discuss it later. But a major problem which is answered by Orgho, this may be a psychological solution, that is normality and your the control or your ruling this is just because of our resistant mentality, which is termed as the resistance in the books of psychology. And a person who wants to rule a type of normality, a definition of normality he or she is creating. And so the normality is not at all a problem. The problem is our justification. The problem is our understanding. So we have to know the proper thing from the fact, not the manipulation. So we want to make a request to everybody that please at first try to know what is actually sex, what is actually sexuality, what is actually gender, what is actually you are, and what is actually society. সমাজ মানছে না, সমাজ মানবে না, আমি চাইছি আমি পারছি না, এই দোষারোপ করার আগে এটা আমাদের মেনে নেওয়া, এটা আমাদের খোঁজা প্রয়োজন সমাজ বিষয়টা কি, সমাজটা আমার চারপাশে থাকা চারটে মানুষ কিনা সেটা আমাদের প্রথম বোঝা দরকার. After this solution, we can take the next step, that what actually we have to do. Otherwise, we should focus on the problem, and we will keep going on. The solution is not anywhere. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for your cooperation, and thank you so much for your precious time. Thank you so much.